So earlier I did a poll asking you guys what you wanted to see today, and more votes than anything for commentating matches from rarely used Nat 5 in RTA. So today we're going to take a look at two rarely used Nat 5s. The first one is Pungbaek. The second one will remain a mystery. You're going to fast forward, aren't you? I know you're going to fast forward. So we're going to take a look at two rarely used Nat 5s in RTA and see how potentially dangerous and brutal and savage they could be, as long as you pair them up with two LD5s, right? Next match player on the right-hand side is coming in with a Jameer, Tableau, Bastet, Kaki, and Pungbaek Cleave team. So many of us are wondering, why on earth would you choose Pungbaek instead of a Lucian or instead of, I don't know, like anything else? Anything else in the world? Well, Pungbaek actually, one of the things is that he does the pure damage, which is nice against things like Kinky, like potentially Miho. If usually people don't pick Miho anymore, but just in case they pick Miho, potentially good against Miho. However, also something that right here is what you're going to notice is a lot of people don't or haven't noticed, totally forgot about, totally spaced on, because I know I did, that Pungbaek actually did get a buff where now he is, if something is killed with his skill 3, then they can't be revived. So, GG. Pungbaek actually has a little bit more value than he used to. North Star's Wisdom, how much damage is this going to do? I mean, he's not going to crit on there like crazy, right? But still, decent damage, right? So at this point, this is just game, and the person with the Riley is just going to do... Here's what happens, which I've noticed more than any other season before, is people just playing out the games. They're like it's done. It's over. They have like a 1% chance to win. They're like, 1% is still 1%. It's still more than 0%. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to see if I can win with it's the Riley thing. It's the Riley situation. If you have a unit that can potentially just very painfully solo things, it could potentially just solo things and just, like, Riley's ridiculous. I think Riley is possibly the most ridiculous OP free-to-play friendly unit in the game right now. At least it feels, I mean, Riley and Vertiheal. If you've tried to, not cleave, if you've tried to do RTA and run a control team, between Riley and Vertiheal, you're like, I can't, I don't want it anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. It can potentially get pretty nasty. So I think at this point, that's, that's game, but I don't think the Riley owner wants to give up just yet. I've seen this all too many times lately. All too many times. Okay, I want to say that's GG. Okay. Oh, thank you. Oh my goodness. Let's go to the next match. This next match, we have another different kind. It's a different player. It's a different kind of cleave team on the left-hand side. I am seeing more people actually using Pungbaek now after the buff, and also actually winning with Pungbaek. So defense breaks because you have the attack power buff on the Amuse. She's kind of bastardy, right? She's kind of bastardy. So that did proc tree on his passive. So now he's going to come in and Lightning of Cycle over there. Not going to... Well, I mean, not that he really has to worry about too much revive since everything just died right there. But even so, Demon wasn't going to revive because Pungbaek's passive after the buff. So as it turns out, this Pungbaek buff is actually been more valuable than I really gave it credit for when we were looking at the balance patch. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, or if you were like, no, I see the true power of the Pungbaek buff in the balance patch. Why do I do that voice? But it has been valuable today. I figured it was going to be good for arena offense. I didn't really give it too much credit for RTA, but it seems to be doing pretty nicely. I mean, you've got the Nanas, you've got the Nana. When everyone is picking Nana in RTA, of course, Pungbaek is going to be useful if he stops things from reviving. So, should have expected that. Didn't actually kill the Light Pioneer there. Super tanky Light Pioneer. Well, Light Pioneer is always super tanky, but didn't actually kill. Gets the 2-turn sleep on the Lydia. Although Lydia had the glancing and there was the shields on that team anyway. But even if Lydia only killed the Pungbaek, that still would have been enough to have a comeback. So, very interesting. I like the fact that he was going for a cleave and then he was like, oh, I see the Lydia there. I'm gonna do the Wusa. So this is just an interesting that people are using Pungbaek now, and it's been pretty effective so far. One of the nice things about some of these teams that we're seeing with the Pungbaek in here is, like, no one's expecting when they queue into RTA. I know I wouldn't be expecting it to fight a Pungbaek in RTA. I'm like, oh, okay, the opponent's picking it's a Cilia Pungbaek team. Oh, I didn't know I was going to be fighting one of those today. I guess I should have been more prepared. I could have been more prepared, but it's not something you queue for RTA thinking that you're going to get. And by the way, this is going to kill Kinky, like, absolutely, like, just because pure damage. The splash damage is great. Splash damage is great, and then also can't be revived. Aside from the fact that there's 2 LDs in the team, this is still such a beauty. Like, the Pungbaek is really the one that is doing all the wonderful stuff in here, because Pungbaek is going to... All of this splash damage, all he has to do is hit Leo. That kind of has to be the target. And thankfully, he got the defense break on Leo. And all the splash damage is going to kill everything else. Well, the additional damage here is going to basically kill Well, he probably didn't want to kill Leo there, unfortunately. But he does actually get the crit on the Douglas, and he kills everything else with the splash damage, because you can't kill Miho, obviously, with the crit hits, and you can't crit against Kinky, but you can still get that pure damage, splash damage against them, and nuke them that way. So I mentioned earlier that we're going to take a look at 2 different monsters today. The first one was Pungbaek. The second one is Christina. 2 units you really don't think about in terms of RTA. This team is like 300 IQ though. At least, maybe 500 IQ. Take a look at this. So, Catastrophe does big damage, inflicts big damage, proportion to defense on all the units. Christina takes a bunch of damage from that, and then it supercharges her, and she insta-nukes the entire team. If you guys are surprised, maybe some of you aren't surprised. I personally am surprised that they actually did that. I was like, this is so smart. Brain damaged. But still, 300 plus IQ. Next match, same team, same guy. 2 speed leads. We have 2 units that are going to be on Swift. And then we have 2 units that have big damage. We have the Light Giant Warrior, and we have the Christina. So let's see how much Christina does without the light. They were smart enough to ban out the Light Giant Warrior. That sounds like a crazy statement. Who is out there like winning with these units against like Molly Tian? Like what? Like my brain is ready to explode. My brain is always ready to explode. But this guy out here beating Tianlang Molly's with units that many people just consider crap RTA units. They're like, I would never in a million years use that in RTA. This guy's out here, he's like, nah, I'll show you. I'll win with this. Don't worry. Picks here looking fairly similar to the last one, except that they don't use a Samat here. They use Lucian instead. Opponent's not trying to contest speed lead, so they don't need to pick a second speed lead over there. They want to use the Lucian because Lucian almost dies. If he would have gotten one more turn, if Leo would have gotten one violent proc, Lucian would be dead. Well, actually, would Lucian be dead? Because the skill 1 doesn't do as much damage as the skill 2 from the Leo. However, this team right there, the opponent's team, could duo? Could 2v4 his team. Because they both heal, they both leech health. They both also do a decent amount of damage as well. So as long as he can turn cycle and turn deny with, because the Christina does have turn denial. Also, the Horus has turn denial with skill 1 and skill 2 over there. Overpower, decreased attack gauge, and the second skill also decreases attack gauge as well. So he could get vampired as long as he... Oh, that's going to be enough damage there. Yeah, with the crit buff, that's going to be enough damage. Next match, 2 different players on left and right hand sides. Although with the picks that they're using, you got the Julianne, the Riley, the Leo over there. It seems like it's the same player as we saw in the last match. However, I don't know, maybe I missed a Light Vampire Hall of Heroes. It's entirely possible. So they're going in with, I want to say, Shield Will Cleave team. It's not a Shield Will Cleave team because there's no shield. Maybe Tiana's probably on shield. So get some defense breaks, get some Vertiheal Revenges. If that Riley would have procced, this would have been a different match. But this is basically just a straightforward, classic, a classic Shield Will Cleave team. This usually doesn't work anymore in the current state of RTA unless you're going in against some bruisers, but it turned out to work. It seems to be working for this guy on the right-hand side. Anyway, that's it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Some food for thought on Christina works effectively as she used to work, except for that Light Giant Warrior team, which was pretty epic. And then we saw the Pungbaek doing some pretty good stuff, some pretty cool, fun stuff after the buff. Anyway, that's it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you as always in the next one.